Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico High School athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you. Visit the Frontier Restaurant. Due to heavy construction on Central, take lead or coal coming north or south. The Frontier Restaurant. Get your Frontier fix on.
Sinners and Saints, a proud sponsor of Proview Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Start your evening off right with a delicious menu selection like the Sinners Smothered Fries with pulled pork and green chili. Always prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Catch all the sports action from college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Sinners and Saints, the friendliest sports bar in Albuquerque.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Here on Proview Network, Leroy Lucero along with Michael Carlisle of 610 Sports Animal fame, award-winning sports bar Monday through Fridays when there's no NCAA basketball. When there's, are you going to have baseball this year?
Isodopes, sure.
Isodukes, and are you going to have pro baseball?
No.
Okay, so sometimes the Isodukes preempt you as well, correct?
Isotopes, yeah.
I like Isodukes because it gives the...
But that's not their name.
I know, but it gives the now and a little bit of the past. It's like current retro. Isodukes, it's cool.
Current retro, which I believe is an oxymoron.
That's fine. There's a lot of oxymorons out there.
Well,
I mean,
this is true.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good one, though.
I guess.
It's a good one. It's a good, especially when it comes to the isotopes. And what's your general manager's name again? I can't remember. Is it Straub?
John Traub?
Traub. We had him in one time and talking, and he's like, "Oh, you're the one that says Isodukes?" And I go, "Yeah, that's me." That ain't my phone ringing, is it? No, I'm a pro. Actually, I'm not.
Yes, that's why you reached in and pulled out your phone to see if it was your phone ringing.
Anyway, we got some good stuff. Micah Franco will be here, and
yeah,
there's some weird items in here, but we'll figure that out, I'm sure, during the Cage Minds time.
Yeah, it's like show and tell.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Do you got a question? So we got some stuff to talk about, obviously, as the Wise Pies turns, because it's round of pizza.
Right, pizza. I got
we had a few
flat, just like the Earth, according to Shaq and Kyrie Irving.
There you go. So I guess we had a couple transfers. We could talk about that. I think Lobo Nation's starting to settle down a little bit from their initial anger of Paul Krebs' initial.
You really think that?
I think a little bit.
Okay.
I think a little bit. Oh, you don't?
No.
Well, this is interesting because now we're flip-flopping on this. Because last week I was one of the very aggravated, and this week.
No, my stance hasn't changed. I just don't think.
You don't think anyone else has chilled out?
People who were upset before have settled down yet.
Yeah. Yesterday, or I should say Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Was
Monday.
It Monday. Monday was a press conference with Bob Davie, as spring football player.
Davie was Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay, I was right. Tuesday was the press conference and the first day of spring practice. Wednesday also there was another spring practice, and then there's going to be some during the week. Obviously, you go to Go Lobos. Those practices are open to the public. As a lot of new Lobo football players are going to be introduced. As finally UNM's kind of got it together as far as classes. It's not as unbalanced as it was once Coach Davie had taken over. So that'll be that'll be interesting to watch as we have spring practice. And DWO this weekend.
Yep, at the Westside Community Center.
And I think I'm going to try to make that.
Very
and
cool.
I know you're going to make it. And we can definitely talk a little DWO and pump people up to get out there and join us and kind of check out what's going on, as DWO once again has another exciting year of professional wrestling, with Hobo Hank still the champion, correct?
For now.
Well, Hobo Hank's the man. Everyone loves Hobo Hank,
Oh,
you know.
I got nothing against Hobo Hank.
Well, we've had Hobo on a
I
few
admire a
times.
man who can overcome things like living in the dumpster behind the Frontier restaurant to become a heavyweight champion.
So, I mean,
you know.
and we've always tried to ask him, but he's never answered. Does he gather like every little chunk of Frontier roll to make one, or does he save some?
I think you just grab
Or it's
it
got to
when
be
you can get
half
it.
or better.
You know, when you're in that situation, you never know when the next one's coming. So
You got to grab what you can grab.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Red Menace TV. Actually, CageMinds.com. We'll be back after this.
Comebacker. They're going to go to second for one. Back to first, and that is a double play.
He's going to snap it to Porter. He's got plenty of time. Porter going to fire. It's tipped in the air, and it's one-hand grab. There's a penalty marker down. Cruising across the...
Over. The Bears wait until the 7th to live off the great defense they've had today, and they pull it in.
For the University of New Mexico, a Lobo. Fan favorite's going to go deep on first down, and it's caught.
Altitude Sports Grill is where Albuquerque's sports fans won't miss a game. With locally crafted brews on tap and refreshingly crisp cocktails. Located in Hotel Cascada, Albuquerque residents find a staycation worth staying for. Catching Lobo sports, enjoying a beer on the beach, or wiping out, Hotel Cascada is home to your urban adventure. Affordable guest rooms, no-hassle water park parties, and much more.
Now there's an easier way to find deals at great New Mexico restaurants. DineNM.com. Just use your smartphone. Go to the site, download the app. No purchase or printer necessary. DineNM.com. The easiest way to save money when dining out.
Graphic Connection is your source for quality custom sports apparel inspired by the athletes that wear it. Graphic Connection offers in-house graphics, embroidery, digital printing, and screen printing, enabling us to offer custom products with fast turnaround to suit both your budget and your timeline. Graphic Connection is New Mexico's exclusive Cornette digital garment printer shop. The print resolution is unparalleled. Contact Graphic Connection today at 505-821-2777 or visit us online at www.gcsportswear.com.
Ladera Golf Course on Albuquerque's west side features spacious greens, 27 holes with outstanding practice facilities, and beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains, nestled at the foot of the volcanoes. Our 300-person banquet room and bridal suite is perfect for all occasions. Customize your room with color, chair covers, table linen, dinner, and champagne. Visit our cafe and bar with daily specials and happy hour, plus our full-service golf pro shop. For tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Want to eat at a great New Mexico restaurant? Then go to dinenm.com and get a true New Mexico dining experience. We're dedicated to promoting New Mexico-owned restaurants. We advertise restaurant specials, events, and deals all in one place. No need to sign up, sign in, or print out a coupon. Just show your smartphone to your waiter. It's free and easy to use, so find a new special place and enjoy New Mexico's fabulous restaurants. Download the app and visit us online at dinenm.com today.
Welcome back to Caged Minds. We have chased Leroy and Michael out of the studio now because we bring in weapons. Before we get to the weapons, though, and the steel mace, yes, that's a steel mace. Got to remind you guys to go to cagedminds.com. We have a lot of articles up. Recently, the UFC was in London. There was WSOF 35. And here locally, we had the Rumble and the Rio boxing event. We have post-fight interviews with our 3 main card winners, all up at cagedminds.com, and a preview of all of the upcoming events this weekend. And now I'd like to introduce everybody to a good friend of mine, Leo Urquidez, macemovement.com, our very own Fit Studio here locally, and his friend, the Steel Mace, one of the coolest ways to exercise I've ever seen. So before we get to talking to Leo, we're going to give you guys a little demonstration of what the Steel Mace does and the flow that Leo has created, perfected, and is using to help people get in shape.
Thank you very much. Be on it, Steel Mace. About 10 pounds. Yeah, it only weighs about 10 pounds, but it's not the load that's on the top, it's the length of the handle that creates the difficulty. At a certain point, the mace becomes uncontrollable, even at 10 pounds. Well, for combat athletes, 10 pounds is exactly what we're up against, cutting 10 pounds of weight. Controlling 10 pounds of weight. It's a little bit difficult. As a combat athlete, I probably don't want to have a huge squat, huge bench press, but I do want to be able to control every aspect of my frame. And that's what swinging a weapon around for fitness you have to do. There's a lot of balance. Involved in what we do. There's a lot of core strength involved in what we do. And this is the little guy. Can I bring up the big mace?
We are now going to the big mace, the quad mace.
The quad mace is one of my very favorite tools. As you can see, got one with me at all times. Now this guy only weighs 25 pounds, but it will throw me around like a sissy girl. Can I say sissy girl on here?
25-pound mace that can throw you around like a sissy girl.
A lot of people say, I don't want to swing mace, I got a bad shoulder, I got a bad elbow, but we use our core to control what we do. Flowing is going from move to move. All the moves in steel mace movement connect, every single one. You can go from a back squat into a curl, into a full curl, into a curl with a step. This is called a 360. For obvious reasons, it travels 360 degrees. All right.
And that was some flow with the steel maces, especially that big one right there. It looks like you burn a sweat very quickly, very easily.
Sweat real quick. Yeah, definitely a full body exercise. Not only that, but it is a full mind exercise. Full body, full mind. Your brain recognizes gain. After you've worked for a while, maybe in your own yard, on your own vehicle, there is a labor of love. I completed that. I worked hard. And you stimulate your brain because you've accomplished something. Well, I didn't just push and pull. I had to generate torque, control momentum, and I got a good sweat doing it. And I'm in great shape. I'm not bragging, but I just want to emphasize that a 25-pound piece of equipment just kicked my butt.
Now, one of the most incredible things when I first met you that you said is I found the fountain of youth. It's not in just running or lifting, but in being able to functionally lift and have free-flowing movement, to not be one of those old men kind of hunched over from a lifetime of exercising. So go on that theory a little more for us.
Well, you know, here's kind of how I think about it. Feels good to be strong. So we go to extremes to get strong. Well, every action has a reaction. If I focus my life on getting big, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger syndrome, I like to call it, sooner or later, I will not be able to function. I'm going to tear up my knees, I'm going to tear up my elbows, and these are hinges that we use on a day-to-day basis. So, if I can, in fact, work out with 25-pound weight or 10-pound weight, get a great workout out of it, I probably won't need to recover as much. If I spend all day lifting heavy weights, I'm probably going to need to take a recovery day. You know, one of the things with lifting conventionally, there's only so many lifts you can do with the barbell or dumbbell. Well, once you've completed that lift, you go up in weight. And then you go up in weight, then you go up in weight, then you go up in weight, and then you talk yourself into an injury. I myself used to do a little bit of powerlifting, and I went through the same thing. I hurt my hip, I hurt my knee, all because I wanted to do the same exact lift at a higher weight. Well, being able to operate the steel mace or the quad mace or any type of, 25-pound or lower mace, there's a ton of different ones. I can work out tomorrow and feel fresh as a daisy because really, I'm only moving 10 pounds, 15 pounds. And I get asked a lot, hey, you must lift a lot. You must have a 500-pound mace somewhere. But the truth is, I work out with a 10 and a 15-pound mace. Now, this is a great thing. Why is it a fountain of youth? Because me, as a 36-year-old person, I would kick my 26-year-old butt. My 26-year-old butt was fighting in MMA professionally. The amount of strength I can put from each different position I put myself in the mace, I feel incredibly strong. Not only do I feel incredibly strong, every now and then I'll go to move something around, something heavy, and I'll have a good success with it. I don't lift heavy all the time, maybe once every 3 or 4 months. And it's an enjoyable feeling, and I understand why people do it, but really all it's doing is breaking me down. I need a tool of mobility and function. Matter of fact, like if you ever gone through a surgery or did any rehab work, your doctor will give you an instruction. Low impact, don't lift over 15 pounds. Well, we can accomplish that with the steel mace. So not only is it a great tool for growing strength, it is a great tool for repairing. So wait, I can get strength and repair my body, that sounds like a successful tool.
And now, coming from a martial arts background, for people that don't come from that athletic background, the regular Joe that's going to your gym here locally and getting started, how have you seen average people picking up to it? And then first, also, any misconceptions when people hear mace? Because I'd say that to people, you want to come swing some mace? And they look at me like, what did you just say, and what is that?
Yeah, I get that all the time. You train, you know, I'm a steel mace trainer. If I ever say mace, they always think of the spray. I'm sure you got the same reaction.
Exactly what?
Yeah, well, you know, it has been a pleasure introducing people to the steel mace. I mean, it's really been cool. As far as how it's been able to help people, well, the guy who just got off of the couch, I can give him 10 pounds and he can operate it. You know, 60-year-old individual, I can give a 10-pound mace and they can operate it. Being able to start at such a small weight and being able to grow successfully from there, I've had tremendous results. I've got one client, Diane Rincon, I think she's down about 60 pounds. And I say that sparingly because we never really focused on the number of the weight, just how she functions overall. But she's lost a tremendous amount of weight. So we have a gal who was plus 200s and now is under the 200s, thank God. And all we really do is we mess with the steel mace. I have clients in their 60s who have, actually I gotta tell you about this. I have a gal, Claudia, and Claudia, don't kill me, she's in her 60s. Claudia has been an athlete her whole life, and as time has gone, her body has broken down. So giving her a tool of rehab that can grow strength, I got a great clip of her, Claudia, doing fingertip pull-ups, 5 of them. So she found the fountain of youth because she's stronger than she's ever been at 61. Sorry, Claudia.
You just changed that on us. From 60 to 61. She's good.
Well, yeah. We might be a year up or a year down. But anyways, we still love you. We love you. So, you know, anybody can do it. You know, guys like Carlos Condit, he trains with the steel mace. I've got the privilege to train with Carlos and help him a little bit. One of our local celebrities, Jeremiah Bitsu, he was on Breaking Bad for a while. I've got to work with him, and he finds extreme value in it. Some of our other local celebrities, Donald Cerrone. Well, everybody knows Cowboy, all right? Well, he works out with the steel mace, and he absolutely loves it. So there are extreme athletes. There are people who suffer from weight conditions. There are people in their 60s. I have a 12-year-old kid who swings mace with me. So from 12 to plus 60, from average Joe to elite MMA champion.
And then one other good thing to talk about is the never-ending flow. You can always come up with something new. As you said, with certain weights, doing a bench press, you can only bench press in one form. There's only one correct way to do it. There's not one correct way to swing mace, though.
Yeah, you know, I tell my clients or my students, you're an individual. Now, like, just say, for instance, our relationship. If I trained you with the mace every day for 5 years, you would not be me, and I would not be you. Because we're unique. We have different structures, we have different bone densities, we have different muscle mass. So the nice thing about it is you get to be you. I come from a martial arts background, so I do a lot of martial arts with the steel mace. I have a lady who's a ballerina, Karina, and she brings a lot of self-expression through her past as a ballerina into the steel mace. It's neat because I can express myself, you can express yourself in a way that is unique to you. Now there are definitely, it's a weapon, all right? It's a steel mace. Sure, we use it for working out, but make no mistake about it, it is a weapon. So there are things that you want to take precaution of. You don't want to go down to the Home Depot and get a sledgehammer and start swinging it around. Trust me, I actually did that.
I actually had a buddy who, when I brought you up, they said, no, we could just go to Home Depot. You don't need to get one from On It. We'll just go to Home Depot.
Get the sledgehammer. Well, you know, the sledgehammer will take you a long way, but it's clumsy in the handle. It rotates a little uneven. So, you know, if you're going to go play basketball, you wear basketball shoes. All right, so if you're going to train with a steel mace, they're not that expensive. I think they cost like $40. Which is a neat thing in itself. I have a portable piece of equipment that is a full body workout for $40. Now, macemovement.com, that's my website. You can log on that. I think it's $15 a month currently, and you can learn from me, or you can learn from me. You know, I'll be happy to take you guys through your mace education. Now, as we've made people aware of the steel mace, people know about it now. You know, we've got a couple endorsements. We got people all across the world who are into the steel mace. We need to prepare them. So education is important for the aware. There's structures that you create. Now, I always think of the mace like this. It's a tool of destruction. It's made for breaking stuff. Have you ever heard of anybody building something with a steel mace? A body. But that's really it. What I do is I create structures. You know, I always think of like Dancing with the Stars, right? You ever watch Dancing with the Stars?
I can't say that I have, honestly.
Yeah, he has. No, okay. Well, maybe he hasn't. But if you watch a dance contest, you'll see these people spinning, rotating, and then at the end of it, you see the judges, they go, oh, look at those beautiful lines. Look at all those lines they created. Well, a steel mace, all it wants to do is rotate. It doesn't want to stay straight. So me, I create straight lines with the mace. I create structures with the mace. Well, life is unpredictable. Would you agree?
Definitely. You never know what's around the next turn.
Yeah, exactly. Even with the best navigation systems, you have no idea what's coming at you. So that's why I train with something that is imbalanced. It's helped prepare me for life. So when something comes at me that is unbalanced, I have the proper structure because I've built it up in me. I swear to God, if I fall down right now, I have been trained how to fall. I will take the fall appropriately. If somebody throws me something off balance, I've created structures working out with the steel mace that I can absorb that load. If somebody tries to off-balance me, well, I've created lines and structures my whole tenure with the steel mace, so I should be able to have strength in any structure that's thrown at me.
We've learned a lot right now with Leo. It's Fit Studio here locally if you'd like to go to the gym. It's macemovement.com to check him out online. Mace Movement across social media, right?
That's correct. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Mace Movement, Twitter at Mace Movement, of course, macemovement.com, and then I have a YouTube, Mace Movement, as well.
Mace Movement, everywhere you Google, you will find more on this incredible weapon that I find incredibly interesting. And then there'll be more of Red Menace TV now in just a moment after we return to our regularly scheduled programming.
Visit the Frontier Restaurant. Due to heavy construction on Central, take lead or coal coming north or south. The Frontier Restaurant. Get your Frontier fix on.
Sinners and Saints, a proud sponsor of Proview Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Start your evening off right with a delicious menu selection like the Sinners Smothered Fries with pulled pork and green chili, always prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Catch all the sports action from college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Sinners and Saints, the friendliest sports bar in Albuquerque.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Altitude Sports Grill is where Albuquerque's sports fans won't miss a game. With locally crafted brews on tap and refreshingly crisp cocktails. Located in Hotel Cascada, Albuquerque residents find a staycation worth staying for. Catching Lobo sports, enjoying a beer on the beach, or wiping out, Hotel Cascada is home to your urban adventure. Affordable guest rooms, no-hassle water park parties, and much more.
Now there's an easier way to find deals at great New Mexico restaurants. DineNM.com. Just use your smartphone. Go to the site, download the app. No purchase or printer necessary. DineNM.com. The easiest way to save money when dining out.
Graphic Connection is your source for quality custom sports apparel inspired by the athletes that wear it. Graphic Connection offers in-house graphics, embroidery, digital printing, and screen printing, enabling us to offer custom products with fast turnaround to suit both your budget and your timeline. Graphic Connection is New Mexico's exclusive Cornette digital garment printer shop. The print resolution is unparalleled. Contact Graphic Connection today at 505-821-2777 or visit us online at www.gcsportswear.com.
Ladera Golf Course on Albuquerque's west side features spacious greens, 27 holes with outstanding practice facilities, and beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains. Nestled at the foot of the volcanoes, our 300-person banquet room and bridal suite is perfect for all occasions. Customize your room with color, chair covers, table linen, dinner, and champagne. Visit our cafe and bar with daily specials and happy hour, plus our full-service golf pro shop. For tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
So what do you think, Mike? You ready for that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that felt good. I swung it around a little during the break.
Be honest, if you had put that over your head, when I saw him doing that, I'm like, if he drops that on his skull, there's just going to be like a big red mark right there, you know?
You know, it's like you said, it's not the load on top, it's the length that causes the difficulty.
Been watching the Page video. All right. All right. Hey, thank you, Leo. How do I pronounce his last name again, Micah? Urquidez. And it's Mace Movement. MaceMovement.com. That was a heck of a I was like, you know, I'm recovering, so I can't be messing with stuff like that. But it looked pretty cool.
No, it was, yeah.
You know,
very cool.
It looks like something I might want to give it a shot and take a look at, just for funs. See if I don't brain myself, you know. And the 25-pound one looked a little.
You'd have to wear a helmet.
Yeah, you'd have to exactly a helmet and armor.
Maybe.
You'd have to go full Game of Thrones, I think, because you're afraid of hitting yourself. Well, I'd be afraid of hitting myself. So, pretty cool. Hey, speaking of hitting ourselves or whatever, last week, of course, I felt there was a lot of emotional. I don't want to say anxiety could be part of it, but people were really irritated social media-wise about the announcement of Paul Krebs keeping Craig Neal. And I thought this week, at least social media-wise, people have kind of like accepted, you know, like what is that thing, the 7 forms of mourning or whatever. I thought acceptance had started to happen, but you say you feel differently.
Well, just because you're accepting it doesn't mean you like it. You also had this week, you know, the news Elijah Brown's going to utilize the graduate transfer rule. He's going to play elsewhere next year. We found out Anthony Mathis is leaving as well. So that's kind of...
And it was out there for a while that Joe Furstringer was leaving too.
Well, and there's been, at least as we tape this, nothing official on him. I believe Craig Neal told Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal that he spoke with everybody on the team, and Brown and Mathis were the only guys who indicated that they wanted to leave. So from that standpoint, you have to assume everybody else is going to be back. But there's a lot of talk out there.
Well, yeah, and I talked to Jeff Grammer about that, and he said that he's heard of 6 players allegedly, but he says last year I heard there was 3 players leaving. So every year you're going to hear that. And you know what, part of it is that's NCAA basketball now.
Well, exactly, and to that point, obviously UNM, and UNM certainly not the only school that does this, lots do, they anticipated a couple of guys leaving because they had over-recruited. That, you know, with Elijah and Anthony leaving, now with the incoming class, they're right at the limit.
Right.
So, you know, you kind of anticipate those things, especially in this day and age where, you know, you have the graduate transfer rule, plus more guys, you know, even underclassmen more than ever are transferring in and out. So you kind of anticipate those things. Doesn't always make it easier to take.
Sure.
You know, in the Elijah Brown situation, on the radio show, you know, it's kind of gone all over the spectrum. Well, you know, he was getting all the flagrant ones and all this. You know, we don't need him. Okay, that's fine. But no matter where you come down on him, for Lobo basketball, you've got to figure out where the heck are those 18.8 points a game going to come from next year. Well, now, you got a ton of talent on the team.
Yeah.
You got a ton of talent coming in, but nobody on that team currently has ever had to, nor been asked to, score those type of points.
Well,
do they have guys that can do it? Absolutely. Will they?
Well, and you add in
question. No,
I mean, we talked about this last week. You're already losing the Tim Williams scoring and rebounding prowess. In fact, what was one of the excuses or whatever you want to call it this year was, well, Tim Williams was injured. That's why we lost all this. Well, now he's gone. So now now you're missing out a lot. I think that's like 50% of their offense are pretty darn close.
Well, yeah, with Abaj, Jet, and Tim Williams who graduate, and now you add Elijah Brown's point totals in there. You're talking about 43 points a game now that you're not going to have next year.
Someone else has to find there. Yeah. And I mean, there's a couple of guys. I think Kuiper can score. I don't know if he can score as prolifically as Elijah did.
No, well, but different type of player.
Right, yeah.
But he can put up big numbers at times.
If he gets hot, yeah.
You've got to see the consistency. We saw flashes from Jalen Harris this year. We saw flashes from Damian Jefferson. It gets back into, when we talk about the issues that the program's had the last couple of years, right at the top of the list is consistency. Now you start needing to see consistency from those younger guys because they are going to be counted on more than ever. There's not a Tim Williams to lean on. There won't be an Elijah Brown next year to lean on. So guys are going to have to step up. Jordan Hunter's another guy as a sophomore last year who I think really stepped up his game, and he's going to have to continue to do that.
Well, it's interesting. I read someone said they're kind of like pieces of coal that they now have to be polished into diamonds. I think they're a little bit better than that. I think there's some gems in there. You mentioned a couple of guys that I think, and we don't know what we're going to get with the incoming recruits. I mean, but I hate to put pressure on true freshmen coming in and trying to be the man. I mean, it just doesn't really happen a lot in a lot of school situations. It hasn't happened a lot here at UNM.
True, but even before Elijah announced he was leaving, you were kind of looking at the two four-star recruits, the two big men, to place at least some right away to help offset the loss of Tim Williams and Abaj Jet.
Absolutely.
Now, you've got Connor McDougal, again, another kid who had his moments last year. He's certainly going to be called upon more. And you're going to want to see more consistent play for him. But I do think the incoming freshmen, especially the two four-star kids, they're going to get every opportunity possible.
Let's talk about Connor real quick because beginning of the season we had Jeff Grammer on again, and we talked about Connor and that a lot of us expect, and I think a lot of Lobo fans expected him to really step up and be a force. I'm not blaming him because I think this shows exactly like the freshman. You can't expect these guys to come in and just tear it up immediately, right? Because they're learning everything. It's a whole new school, it's a whole new system. For those guys, they've never played at this level before. I know they played AAU, but there's not a lot of defense there, and you play guys pretty much your age or thereabouts. You don't play guys that are like, you get a couple of these seniors or juniors that have had some experience at D1, and the speed. It's going to be a lot harder for them to pick up the game. So I always think it's unfair to look at young men coming in and say, well, this kid's going to be the guy.
Yeah, and I think you're right on that. I don't think we know who the guy is going to be. There may not be the guy. It might be a situation where you're looking at the guys.
That's fair.
But here's what you can't get around. Somebody's got to score.
Yeah.
And maybe more accurately, some bodies have got to score because you're going to have multiple guys step up because you have lost so much. And that's just the scoring aspect of it. Another one of the issues this team has had the past couple of years is defense. Consistently playing
lack of defense.
Right. The lack thereof. Who's going to step up on that end of the court?
Yeah, and that's something that they haven't established or found, like you said, in a few years now. I mean, it's the same problems all 3 years. Now, granted, you had a lot of the same players for those couple of years in different positions, so that might be part of it. Hopefully these guys can step up and at least have a good year. I don't think the Mountain West Conference is any better as a whole next year. In fact, I think it might be even worse. So it's not like they're going to be playing against good quality Mountain West Conference opponents. I think San Diego State probably keeps the most players, but
The beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Leroy. Okay, maybe not quality in terms of
I'm talking
of what we had a few years ago when you had 4 teams in the tournament, but there's not that much difference from the top of the Mountain West to the bottom of the Mountain West. Everybody, with some exceptions, are fairly equal. So, okay, maybe you're not playing, the San Diego States of old and teams like that, but you're still playing teams.
It's like a WAC.
Who are pretty good. Well, no, actually, it's not like a WAC. The WAC has 3 good teams, and everybody else is really bad.
What did the Mountain West Conference have this year? 3 good teams, and everyone else was bad?
No. And I'm not telling you anybody in the Mountain West was significantly better than anybody in the WAC, but you had more balance from top to bottom.
Maybe. Nevada.
No, you absolutely did.
Nevada, Colorado State, and what? Boise State were the top 3 teams?
Well,
for the most part?
You had 4 teams playing in postseason tournaments.
That's true. Wyoming paid to play in the CBI, and then you had the 2 teams go to the NIT, and then obviously Nevada went to get whacked in the NCAA. Yeah, I get it. Hey, a couple of other things I do. So, okay, it's going to be about the same as it was this year then, and the year before.
Well, okay, for the sake of argument, let's say the results are the same.
Yeah.
Is that good enough around here?
No, they got to finish in the. I mean, look, and we've talked about that, and I'm sure you've heard the calls.
Sure, and
I mean, you got to finish in the top 3 at least. Right. You got to show something.
Sure, that's my point. When you say people are calming down now or accepting, not really, because everybody looks at next year. We had the statement from Paul Krebs a couple of weeks ago. Neil's going to be back. The expectations are high, and all that. This program, can do better, should do better. Well, now, you already knew you were going to have to replace Tim Williams and Abijah Jett. Now you've got to replace the scoring of Elijah Brown. Who the heck's doing that? If you look at it right now, and we're a long ways away from the start of next season, but if you look at it right now, do you have any confidence whatsoever that next year, and I'm not trying to be negative, I'm just saying, look at it right now, that next year is going to even be as good as this year, let alone any better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I want to change gears for you real quick, because there's another team in New Mexico State. They went to the NCAA tournament after winning a WAC, another one-bid league, and they promptly got whacked by Baylor. They actually hung for a while.
They had the lead at the half.
Yeah, they did, and they looked okay.
Baylor came out in the second half and looked like a completely different team than they did the first half, but the Aggies hung with them for a half.
So being in the WAC and being in the Mountain West Conference, 2 one-bid leagues, and of course your Dukies, they choked. But obviously those conferences are going to get more teams constantly, and than say a Mountain West Conference, a WAC. I guess what are they? West Coast Conference, WCAC? They got 2 in.
The West Coast Conference, they got Gonzaga and St. Mary's.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, we're seeing the trend now that the bigger basket, the Power 5, kind of like in football, are going to choke, and it's been that way for the most part. But they're really choking off the bids for some of the smaller conferences now, to where there's only 1. Do you see a team like New Mexico or New Mexico State or any of those conferences, or even that they're going to be able to succeed or grow or get better to that point without being part of the bigger conferences?
Well, it's really a tough situation. The easy answer is, well, those teams have got to go out and schedule better teams, right? The problem is teams from the big conferences don't want to play those teams. Mm-hmm. There's no motivation for them to play those teams. If you win, well, you should have won. If you lose, then, oh my goodness, how could you lose to that team? You also see more and more conferences now dictating to the teams in the conference, you got to play, X number of games against this type of quality of opponent. You're seeing conferences add more conference games, going from 18 conference games to 20 conference games. That's 2 less non-conference games you've got to schedule. So then those teams have to utilize 2 less non-conference games to still schedule a good, solid non-conference schedule. They don't really have a lot of interest in playing teams from the Mountain West, teams from the WAC, teams from the Missouri Valley Conference. Well, so much was made of Wichita State getting a 10 seed. Oh my gosh, how could they only get a 10 seed? They won 31 games. The fact of the matter is, Wichita State doesn't win their conference tournament, they don't even get into the NCAA tournament. Fair or not, right or not, that's just the case. So to answer your question, I don't know what the answer is. Again, the easy answer, just go out and schedule up. Those teams don't want to play you. How do you schedule up?
So you got to root for a team like Gonzaga.
You can. I don't know what that gets you in the long run. I mean,
well, at least it gets a name for a smaller conference.
Sure.
Hopefully that would open things up at least for the. Then maybe a Mountain West Conference can schedule some West Coast Conference games. At least that helps your RPI. Playing yourselves with and I think we've talked about this for years now. Playing within the conference doesn't help because these teams have, like you said, they're not going to play those teams. Now the Lobos did pretty well in scheduling. But I think there's Arizona, Colorado.
And Lobos have also had the benefit. Now they haven't been able to take advantage of it.
Is those tournaments?
But being in the deal with ESPN and playing in those preseason tournaments, where you do get the opportunity to take on those teams. Look, Wichita State had that same situation. I believe they played in the Battle of Atlantis, and they had Louisville, they had Michigan State. But it's one thing to get those teams on your schedule,
and then win them.
But you got to go out and win some of those games at some point.
Real quick before we take a break and come up, Rusty. Last thing, Mountain West Conference Commissioner was talking about the television contract and actually breaking the television contract and streaming everything via Facebook or
I don't know that they'll break it per se. They probably wouldn't do anything before the TV contract comes up, which I believe is 2020. I could be wrong on that. I don't know that it's a bad idea. If you look, attendance is down everywhere, and not just in college sports, but in pro sports as well. But let's look at New Mexico here, and attendance was down this year. First time since the pit opened, they weren't in the top 25 in attendance. When you're accustomed to playing conference games Wednesday and Saturdays, and all of a sudden you're playing a ton of Tuesday conference games instead, and they're at 9 o'clock at night, it throws the fans off. Then fans have to make the decision, well, do I want to go out, watch a game at 9 o'clock at night, or sit at home and watch it on TV? And the reason those games are at 9 o'clock at night, the reason they're on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays, is TV. It's a double-edged sword. Hey, great. When
they don't get paid extra for those games, kind of like they do in football.
But you get exposure, which is great, but 9 o'clock Mountain Time is 11 o'clock back east.
Yeah, who's watching?
Unless you're just a really big New Mexico fan, San Diego State fan, Nevada fan, how many people back east are really staying up at 11 o'clock to watch a college basketball game? If you have more control over the times, theoretically, you can schedule a lot more 7 o'clock Wednesday night games, 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon games, and get more people in the stands at your arena.
If you're streaming online, too, I think that opens up a whole new technology.
Well, look, let's be honest. That technology's been around for a while now.
But who's taking advantage?
Well, lots of people have. Dude, did you realize how many if you're a college basketball junkie, if you do it right, if you have a good service, Major League Baseball has a streaming package. You can pay a fee and stream every Major League Baseball game. I actually do that. The quality is fantastic.
Who do you stream? Oh, the Cubs.
Yeah, the Cubs. The quality is fantastic. UFC has their own freaking network where you can watch
WWE has their own.
I'm getting there. WWE. Look, the streaming market is huge. Everybody used to complain about the Mountain Network until it went away. And they're like, God, I miss the Mountain. You can do the same thing, and you don't have to go through cable and satellite providers and have them getting a chunk of the money. You can create your own network digitally, stream it online, cut out the middleman, and offer a really good product that people will like.
I wonder who else streams. Proview Network streams.
Proview Networks.
Hey, why don't we take a quick break? We'll be back after this on Red Menace TV with Rusty the Sports Clown.
Oh, yay.
Visit the Frontier Restaurant. Due to heavy construction on Central, take lead or coal coming north or south. The Frontier Restaurant. Get your Frontier fix on.
Sinners and Saints, a proud sponsor of Proview Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Start your evening off right with a delicious menu selection like the Sinners Smothered Fries with pulled pork and green chili. Always prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Catch all the sports action from college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Sinners and Saints, the friendliest sports bar in Albuquerque.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
It's a swing and a miss. Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Rusty the Sports Clown here for the Red Menace TV. Guess what? Hey, it's time for a sports break. Check this out. I'm going to talk about what everybody's talking about. I know, the Cowboys free agency mess. All right, Mr. Romo is still a Cowboy. He's got a couple teams interested in him, Houston and Denver, but only if the Cowboys release him. And the Cowboys are, still trying to work a trade or something. Now, they've got another quarterback that they were talking to, Josh McCown. And, the whole idea was that when Romo goes, Josh comes in as the backup. But since Romo's still there, McCown has decided to go talk to the Jets or somebody else. I don't get what they're doing. All right, defense, they're taking huge hits everywhere. Their defense has been like demolished, destroyed. It's horrible. They lost both safeties. They lost Wilcox. They lost Church. They lost their cornerbacks, Claiborne and Carr. They lost a couple defensive linemen that they can't afford to lose. And they lost a couple offensive linemen too. One retired, one got traded. One got picked up by Tampa Bay or somebody. Yeah, I don't know who it was. All right, sadness. College football. All right. Everybody's talking about college football right now, right? Okay. Lobos, they're in spring training, just starting up this week. We got a really good, really good offense. Most everybody's coming back. Defensively, though, they got some work because they lost like 9 guys, okay? 9 on defense. They got to pick up 9 more people to fill in spots, but they can do it. They're going to be good. All right, now then that other thing that a few people are talking about, the college NCAA basketball tournament thing that's happening. Okay, how many of you build stuff? And they say, when you build things, you got to like put brackets on corners and stuff. And I don't have any issues with that, but everybody that I've talked to, their brackets are busted. So I don't know whether they're standing on them wrong or something, but brackets are being busted left and right. Nobody won the $1 million. Nobody. All right, here's what's going on. Lobos did not make the tournament. New Mexico State got beat in the first round by Baylor. Remember that guy that used to coach the Lobos that couldn't get them past the second round? Well, he got that UCLA team. Now they're in the Sweet 16. So now I don't know who to root for. Do I root against him because he left us? Do I root for him because he's from us? I don't know. It's a mess. All right, Lobo baseball. I was all excited. They won 7 in a row. 7. And they won good too. And then they played Oklahoma State. They got crushed 2 games in a row. Didn't score a run. It was embarrassing. Then they played Cal State Fullerton. Okay, and they got to remember that both of these teams are nationally ranked in the top 20. But still, we're supposed to be good this year. We're supposed to compete. They lost 3 straight to Cal State Fullerton. 5-4, 2-1, 1-0. 1-run games, all of them. Lobos, come on. I was like, getting all excited, putting on my Lobo stuff all the time, and now I'm embarrassed. It's like, you guys aren't good. You're supposed to be good, but you're letting me down. Okay, I got to stop before I start crying. It's okay. I'll be fine. Okay, high school basketball. How many of you guys watched the tournament, went to the tournament, saw all that stuff? God, was that great or what? Okay, I picked an all Rio Rancho final. I had Rio Rancho playing Cleveland, and I had Cleveland winning. But guess what? Yeah, Rio Rancho got beat in the first round by Volcano Vista. Who saw that? Yeah, nobody. Well, okay, Fletcher did, but yeah, he doesn't count. He said something about you don't go against a volcano or something like that. Okay, Cleveland, they got beat by Las Cruces in the semifinals, and Volcano beats Las Cruces in the finals. Nobody saw that. Except for that guy. Nobody. I don't get it. They were a 12 seed. Nobody does that. Okay, Rio did it last year as an 11 seed, but nobody does that. Okay, until next year when another 11 or 12 seed will win it all. But nobody, okay? Got me? All right. High school baseball, La Cueva. They won the All-Metro City Championship thing against Rio Rancho. Now then, I think it's going to be Rio, Cleveland, and La Cueva representing the North come tournament time. I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those 3 winning it, but Carlsbad's tough. One of those Las Cruces teams is going to sneak in there and do some damage. All right, last thing coming up. I got to make a correction. How many of you guys saw that Cars movie a couple weeks ago, the Daytona edition? All right, I made the mistake and told people that the wrong Bush brother won the Cars movie. Okay, I said that Kyle won. I was wrong. I know that never happens, but this time I was wrong. Okay, it was the other Bush brother. It was George W. or Jeb. I don't know. One of those other Bush brothers. I don't know. All I know is that it wasn't Kyle, okay? All right. What do? I welcome you to follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me to a Lobos game, follow me to, I don't know, a high school thing, anything, because you know what? I'm very famous, and everybody likes that cool stuff. If there is an event, a game, a meet, a match, or, whatever, just go. Buy a ticket. If it doesn't cost anything, show up anyway. Buy a soda. That's all I got for now. I'll see you guys next week. Love y'all. Bye.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV. Rusty the Sports Con, did you stand on your bracket? Is it busted?
It's busted, but I didn't stand on it.
You didn't stand on it? Slammed it against the wall?
Only after it was busted.
Okay. Oh, after it was busted, you slammed it. Hey, I wanted to ask one thing real quick when we were talking basketball, and that's the I guess dream story of people that can't stand Craig Neal. That Saint, what do you call him, Saint Alfred? Or St. Steve Alford?
St. Stephen Alford, the patron saint of Great Lobo Wins, yes.
Okay, yes, that St. Stephen Alford, the patron saint of Great Lobo Wins,
yes,
would be ripped out of UCLA to go back to coach his alma mater of Indiana, and that he would bring his good friend Pee-wee, his good friend Craig Neal to be his assistant coach, thereby helping UCLA, who kind of wants to get rid. It seems like if he doesn't make the Final Four and win the championship, get rid of him. Mm-hmm. Help Indiana, who brings home their patron saint, I guess. Yeah. And then UNM would benefit because they would get rid of Craig Neal without having to pay the $1 million.
Yeah, there's a lot of things at work there with the Steve Alford situation. First of all, his buyout at UCLA is north of $7 million.
Right.
Now, look, you can work around that. You can get the shoe company to pay for that. Matter of fact, that's the rumor. Adidas, who reps Indiana, would be willing to pay it.
Okay.
I think Alford goes.
Yeah,
I do too. I think he goes back to Indiana, and that one I don't actually blame him for. He was pretty much forced to give back his contract extension last year.
Right.
And don't think for a second he willingly gave it back as a show of good faith to the fans.
Not like the dollar payoff that Lou Henson did at UNM.
Yeah. Don't think for a second that's the case. He was forced to give it back.
His son graduates.
And you're right. Look, if they lose this weekend, you
thought they weren't going to make the Sweet 16, right, which they did.
Right. If they don't make the Final Four, the same talk you heard last year. The grumblings. Remember, they were flying airplanes over Pauley Pavilion, pulling Fire Steve Alford banners.
Yeah.
So, for all the success he's had this year, and deservedly so, look, they fired Ben Howling there, and he took UCLA to 3 Final Fours in 5 years, and that wasn't good enough. So that tells you the expectations they have there. If he's offered the job, I absolutely think Steve Alford goes back to Indiana.
I agree.
Don't hold your breath thinking that he's going to take Craig Neal with him for a couple of reasons.
I wanted to hold my breath.
First and foremost, I can only think in recent times of one coach who walked away from a head coaching job to take an assistant coach job. And that was actually Richie McKay. He was the head coach at Liberty. He left that job and went and joined Tony Bennett's staff at Virginia. Now he's since gone back to Liberty. Off the top of my head, that's the only coach I can think of that has walked away from a head coaching job to go take an assistant coaching job. Why would Craig Neal do that?
Because it's a disaster here. I mean,
doesn't matter.
Next year is going to be worse than this. I mean, okay, so you mentioned.
Do you think Craig Neal's going to get paid $700,000?
No, of course not.
As an assistant? All right, exactly.
But I mean, it's just like they would fix St. Alfred's contract, they would figure a way to work that around too, so he'd make. I agree with you though. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a dream. It's a dream of every Lobo, not every Lobo fan, but I would say the majority of Lobo fans at this point.
You're the only one I think it's a dream that Alford gets the job and takes Neal with him. I don't think anybody else sees that as.
Well, I think you yourself just said you're still getting calls of people upset about Neal being retained.
No, yes.
Well, I'm just saying this was a dream sort of.
But I don't think anybody sees it being realistic that you have the Alford Neal reunion.
Well, is it realistic that he's going to get canned? I mean, obviously that ain't going to happen either. Oh, we only got a couple minutes left. I want to touch you real quick. Saturday, we mentioned it. I didn't want to touch you unless I had that mace. Saturday evening at what time?
7 o'clock, Westside Community Center. DWO Wrestling presents Pride is a Sin. You can get your tickets in advance at holdmyticket.com. There'll also be tickets available at the door. Should be a lot of fun.
Now, you said Simbody's going to be there, and you interviewed this week?
Earlier this week, I interviewed Rob Conway. You may remember him from his WWE days. He was one half of La Resistance, a 3-time WWE Tag Team Champion, also a former 2-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Interviewed Robbie E., this week who's going to be there. If you watch TNA Impact Wrestling on Pop TV, you know who Robbie E is. He's a former TV champion, tag team champion for TNA. So they're bringing in a lot of good big names from the independent scene. Plus, you know, your local stars. Hobo Hank will be defending the DWO title actually against Rob Conway. Bruce 66 will be in action. Johnny K. So yeah, a lot of fun as always at the Westside Community Center for the DWO.
Tickets
events.
are good. It's a good time. A lot of people go out there and have a great time. Unfortunately, not going to have a five time, huh?
You never know.
You never know.
I don't even know what that means anymore.
Don't you remember 5-time champion? Booker T, baby.
Booker T.
You don't remember he talked to the hand?
He didn't really talk to the hand. He shook the hand.
He shook it, but he talked to it. Well, of course.
He didn't shake the hand. He shook the hand.
What's his name?
John Cena. You can't see me.
And but we see him all the time.
That doesn't work, does it? Hold on. Let's see.
Well, you kind of. It's like I don't know. It's like you just like flashes before you. Maybe you do see him. I'm not sure. Hey, I want to thank Micah for coming out. Leo with the Maces.
Yeah.
Mike, you got a good walkthrough. Josh hooked us up today instead of Alden, who's going to be doing some Lobo baseball. And I'm Leroy.
Josh might be better than Alden.
I don't know. I did see him adjusting some cameras, so you might be right. Hey, I'm Leroy Lucero. This is Red Menace TV. We'll see you next week. God bless you all.